Well, first of all, Geelong College was a lot smaller than it is now, and most of the boarders knew each other. We knew where they came from, their middle names, and it was a fairly exclusive little school. I'm Peter Eaton, known at school as Esky, because they called me Eskimo. I was born in 1925 and went to school between 1937 and 1942. Mackie Oval, we had to dig trenches, but we dug them close enough so that we could bombard each other with big clay bombs. Also, we did aircraft identification, and at night, taking turns, if any aeroplane, we had to inform the authorities what sort of a plane it was, or what we thought it was, and what direction it was going, what speed, and that was good. Before my father went to Darwin, his first command was a squadron of Avro Ansons. The latest bomber had a turret, but they ended up as trainers. But he brought the whole squadron over the school, and we heard all this noise, and everyone broke ranks, jumped out of school, and here we are looking up, and everyone had just left the teachers for dead and bolted outside. 60 years later, I met a friend of mine, Harvey Lade, and he said when he saw those planes, he decided to become a pilot, and he did. He also said there was a little snowy-haired boy beside me pointing up, saying, "There's my daddy up there." He was a wonderful principal. He was very religious, being a Methodist, a Presbyterian minister, but he had the ability of talking to you. If we were sitting down, he'd come, "Do you mind if I come and talk to you boys?" And yeah, he'd sit down and tell us stories about the outback. And he was rather famous because, being a conscientious objector and a pacifist, he won the MC in the First World War. How come? He had apparently gone out under fire, bringing in wounded. I went up to Myrtleford with Ian Rankin, and quite a few times with my friend Bob Waterhouse. Bob, rather interesting, was the dux of the class, and I was the bottom. And we got on very well, and we stayed friends for always. When I first started at school, they came down and picked me up for a picnic the first term at school. My sister, and me, my mum and a friend, my brother. There's a group of boys in front of Mackie House. This is John Cameron here. We became friends at the start, and still until he died only a few months back. I've seen a lot of him over the years and spent many, many months on his farm. I've learnt a lot from him, a very, very successful farmer. He was my best man and I was his best man. This is a reunion at school 4 or 5 years ago. Harvey Lade, he's the bloke who became a pilot. That's me. David Russell, he was a bomber pilot, and also Crow Morrison. I met an old bomber pilot, and he said, before I became a pilot, I was in the Light Horse. And I said, I saw them in Geelong. And he said, That's funny. I was in that. I remember it well because we all played up that night. They had this big parade through Geelong. There seemed to be hundreds and hundreds of horses, and I remember them coming down Melville Street, Ryrie Street, and with all their plumes, and because I'd always wanted to be a fighter pilot, and then I changed to being a light horseman. I want to be a light horseman. They looked magnificent, and it was a wonderful sight. And I can still hear their feet on the clip-clopping down the road. We made lifelong friendships, and I think one of the things going to school, we met the right people in those days, and that was a big thing.